It's not NIL and it's not the transfer portal. Ladies and gentlemen, the one thing that could kill college football is opt-outs. And I came across this article a few days ago and it really got me thinking. You see this article from ESPN, why the debate around opting out to prepare for the NFL draft has never been louder. Personally, I don't think that's the case. But I was thinking yesterday, what if Will Anderson announced and said, I'm opting out for the 2022 season, I'm preparing for the draft. He would still be a top 3 or a top 4 pick. What if CJ Stroud tomorrow announces, I'm not playing, I'm preparing for the draft, I don't want to risk injury? He's still very likely going to be a top 5 pick. Bryce Young, the same thing. It's this idea to where it's like college football is almost powerless. We saw it happen with both Micah Parsons and Ja'Marr Chase. Now, you can say the pandemic played a part, and I also think if Micah Parsons was on Ohio State or Alabama, he wouldn't be opting out. But Micah Parsons opts out, still goes top 12 in the draft, wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. Ja'Marr Chase opts out, still goes, number 5 overall in the draft, and has an unbelievable rookie season. Both of those guys are well on their way to extremely lucrative contracts in the NFL. And again, I understand it was because of the pandemic, but at what point do some of these agents, you look at a guy like Will Anderson, who's a superstar pass rusher, if he was drafted last year, if he could declare for the draft last year, he probably would have been the number 1 overall pick. I don't think there's really a debate. Like, he's just a better prospect than Aiden Hutchinson, than Trayvon Walker. He put up better stats, so it's this idea, it's this helpless idea of these superstars opting out because they don't need to stay for college football for 3 years. They've already proved themselves. Now, how does college football get saved? It's very interesting. NIL saves college football. And guys, let me first just say, I've never been against NIL. I've been against illegal uses of NIL that are not policed correctly by the NCAA. That's what was happening with Texas A&M. That's why many of the conference ADs got pissed and made the NCAA put out a statement against tampering, against boosters talking and paying recruits to go to schools. I've never been against NIL as an on-campus thing to where kids can make money. Now, why do I say NIL is going to save college football? Because many of these players, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, are going to be making so much money on the campus of Alabama, on the campus of Ohio State. They're going to want to play and make more money and get more endorsement deals. And you also have to factor in the first contract you get in the NFL. Even if you are the number 1 overall pick, many of these kids are going to be making just as much money their junior years at college through NIL, through these deals. You take a look at someone like Bryce Young, who won the Heisman, just how much money he's getting. CJ Stroud, you're a Heisman frontrunner, you're the superstar quarterback at Ohio State. He's going to be making a ton of money. So NIL can, in theory, save college football from this idea of opting out. If you didn't have the NIL, the chance for these kids to make money, many of these, kids' agents, the advisors to these kids would tell them, listen, you're Will Anderson. If you do not play another snap in college, you will still go top 5. You will still go top 5, and that is something scary to think about, but I do think the NIL can save us from that, just as long as it's done properly. Again, guys, I am not against NIL. I'm against the illegal uses of it, because teams like Texas A&M and Tennessee realize the NCAA has very little governing power, and they're not going to enforce any of their laws, and they can just blatantly cheat and get away with it. That's what I'm against when it comes to the NIL. And again, guys, I'm not saying Will Anderson is going to opt out or anything like that. There's actually an article that says Will Anderson opting out of 2022 season is unlikely. Well, it's not going to happen. But I'm saying with the evolution, we could eventually get there. The pandemic might have, I do think the pandemic caused it. But it's like some of these kids are going to look at Micah Parsons, they're going to look at Ja'Marr Chase, and they're going to be like, listen, I'm already a top 5 pick. Even someone like Jackson Smith-Njigba or Jordan Addison. Like Ja'Marr Chase sat out his entire junior season and still got picked extremely high. For a wide receiver in the draft, being the number 5th, or I believe he was the number 5th or number 6th overall pick. And then he has that rookie year, saving his body, preserving it. That's all the type of crap you're going to hear. But again, you hope the NIL, the on-campus aspect of it, where we keep NIL away from recruiting, but when you come to campus and you're CJ Stroud and people want to pay you money to do sponsorships, that's when you make the money, and that's when you want to play. We want these kids to want to play college football, and obviously I'm only talking about this for a select number of elite players like a Ja'Marr Chase, like a Micah Parsons, like a CJ Stroud. We're talking about guys that were 5-star, high 4-star recruits, guaranteed superstars. Of course, a lot of these kids by their junior year are still trying to raise their draft stock, so obviously they're going to want to play in the college football games. But it's just something interesting, and it's something I thought about a few days ago when I saw this ESPN article. It's like this idea where Will Anderson could just say, I want to preserve my body. There's no point. I literally would have been the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 draft, which is crazy to think about. And then you're going to have people arguing kids shouldn't have to stay for 3 years in college. I think that's a completely different argument. I think it's a good thing that they stayed for 3 years in college when it comes to the NFL. You need to prepare your body and things like that. It's not like the NBA where they can kind of just go as 19-year-olds and play against, professional players. It's a lot different. There's a lot of different variables at play. Speaking of things that could kill college football, you want to know there's actually another thing that could kill college football, and that's Big Noon. Unbelievable, guys. Yesterday, this was me yesterday. Very happy. Bullet dodged. Ohio State, Notre Dame will be played week 1, 7:30 prime time under the lights. CJ Stroud, Heisman moment? Maybe. But guys, either way, very happy the Ohio State Notre Dame game was announced at 7:30 on ABC. And Alabama and especially Texas get screwed. Really just Texas. If you're Alabama, playing Texas at noon or 11 a.m. Central, because the game is in Austin, Texas, it's looking like Big Noon's going to do their stupid charade where they put that great non-conference matchup on the 11 a.m. It's going to be 11 a.m. Central would be the start time. If you're going to that game in Texas, you're going to have to leave your house at like 9:30 in the morning. It's extreme. Big Noon must be stopped. And I'm actually, this was a very good idea. I think Texas fans started this little campaign to get Fox to put this game on at least 3:30, preferably 7. This is a week 2 game, by the way, but they made a little campaign. That's what you should do. I think Big Noon is the stupidest thing in all of college football. They talk about Big Noon getting huge ratings, and that's why they do it. No, it's just because every time Big Noon happens, Ohio State is normally on it. Ohio State has the biggest fan base in college football, so in turn, a lot of people watch the Ohio State games. They're at noon. It's Big Noon. That's why they get a lot of ratings, not because the games are on at noon. If you put Ohio State on at 7:30, they're going to get just as good, if not better ratings than the noon time slot. All the noon time slot does is it restricts access to people on the West Coast because it's a 9 a.m. time slot start time for those people. And I know they say, oh, they don't want to compete. They don't want to compete with ESPN, games and things like that. That is so ridiculous, man. We got to do something about Big Noon. We really do. It should go extinct. If I'm Ohio State, I'm saying, listen, you can have all the Michigan games you want. We can do the Michigan-Ohio State game at noon, whatever. But we're done with appearing on your network. I mean, we're really just sick of it. We're tired of having our recruiting weekends ruined, all of our big matchups. How about the Oregon game last year? They put the freaking Oregon game at noon. Oregon is a West Coast team traveling East Coast, and they put that game on at noon. Now, Oregon did win, and it was embarrassing, but either way, like, it's just so ridiculous. I hope this Texas-Alabama game is at least on at 3:30. The noon window, like, this is a disadvantage. Like, if I was an Alabama fan, I would be happy. Because if you're talking about a Texas crowd at 11 a.m. versus 6 p.m. if the start time was 7 Eastern, oh, it's completely different. If you're the away team, you want the game to be on at noon, and now there's actually a worry that the Ohio State-Penn State game that's supposed to be the whiteout game is going to be on at noon, which would be extremely beneficial for Ohio State, but still, it's ridiculous. The big noon thing should not exist. Also, guys, I saw Ohio State and Wisconsin. That's a game that's going to be carried by ABC or ESPN networks, so we're expecting that game to be another night game. So it's just unbelievable. That's 2 big night games for Ohio State in the first, 4 or 5 weeks, I think. I don't know if that Wisconsin game is week 4 or week 5. I think it might be week 4. I don't know. It's either week 4 or week 5, but either way, that is great news. Major bullet dodged. Everyone was saying, oh, the Ohio State, Fox is going to pick the Ohio State Notre Dame game. Nope. Not going to be on that network. Not going to be on at noon. Amazing. Thank God. Ohio State Notre Dame, 7:30. It is going to be an epic blowout, and I love Notre Dame, but Notre Dame is going to walk into a buzzsaw. I feel bad for them. Guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, The Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.